This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, morning everyone. Thanks for dialing in on a Saturday morning. We'll just take 2-3 minutes while participants are dialing in, and we'll start in next 3 to 4 minutes. Also, for the people who are dialing in, the session is being recorded, and it would be posted on our YouTube channel, BioAngel. So you can, if you want to refer to it in the future, you can quickly go to our YouTube channel and have a look at it. Hi, Sudipta.
Hello, hi.
So we'll take 2 more minutes, Sudipta, while people are dialing in. We already
So,
have, yeah, very close to 25 people already in the room. So we'll take 2 more minutes and then start. Hi Poonam, you can actually stop sharing your screen.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Very good morning to everyone. I thank all of you for dialing in on a Saturday morning. But rest assured, you will have some critical takeaways from this session on not just the investors' outlook for all the startups in today's lobby while raising a private equity investment, but also, some insights on what Birec is doing for the biotech startup community and the upcoming Global Bio India event happening on 4th to 6th December. So, hello everyone. I am Aditi, and I'm leading Bio Angels at Indian Angel Network, and I officially welcome everyone to today's session, where we'll start with a brief presentation on Global Bio India 2023, which is India's largest exhibition being organized by BIREC and DBT on from 4th to 6th of December in Delhi, primarily for the biotech industry, biotech startups, and anyone who's remotely interested in biotechnology and accelerating the innovations for the country. Then we will dig deeper into critical insights on an investor's outlook while assessing and investing into a biotech venture. This would be taken up by my colleague Sudipta Gautam, who is managing partner at IAN. I would quickly introduce I'll quickly introduce BioAngels to everyone. So BioAngels is a unique partnership between BIRAC, an enterprise of the Department of Biotechnology, and Indian Angel Network, which is India's single largest horizontal platform for seed and early stage investing. So BioAngels is India's first biotech sector focused angel investor group in biotech, health tech, medtech, pharma, clean tech, and agri-tech. And we are focused on bringing money, mentoring, and market access to these startups. And these three principles are built on IAN's legacy for last 16 years. It brings a heady mix of private investor groups driving the investment process, along with access to domain and technology experts embedded in the government ecosystem through BIRA. Without any further delay, I would welcome and introduce our first speaker, Ms. Poonam Bishnani, who takes care of all the advanced stage and equity schemes at BIRA. Over to you, Poonam.
Oh, thank you, Aditi. Thank you. Can I have my slides presenting here,
Sure.
please?
Yeah.
Uh, so first of all, I would like to thank BioAngels teams for organizing this Global Bio India Roadshow. And a very good morning to Sudipta sir, Aditi, and all the audience joining here. I what I'll do is I'll just present a couple of slides in front of you to give you an overview about what BIREC does and what is the 3 day of mega event will be having. Um, Global Bio India basically is a 3 day event from 4th to 6th December at Pragriti Maidan, New Delhi. This is the very third edition of Global Bio India. The first edition was held from 2019, second was in 2021 virtually, and this is the third edition. The theme of this time event is biosciences to bioeconomy. We believe that these two are the fundamentals who will steer the biotech bioeconomy into the country. Next slide, please. Uh, Next. Yeah, so about BIREC. BIREC is a Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council. It is a Government of India enterprises under the Section 8 not-for-profit company under the aegis of Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of Science and Technology. BIREC was set up in the year 2012. The basic objective of the BIREC is to promote nurture, and enable the biotechnology innovation ecosystem into the country. In order to achieve this objective, BIREC do this through its various schemes and programs, which we are going to see in our next slide. Next slide, please. So BIREC has various schemes and programs such as Bioness Incubation Center, EUA schemes. So far, BIREC has supported 75 incubation centers across the countries. Bioness supports mature incubation centers and EUA schemes pre-bio incubation centers. We also support through our early stage funding programs like BIG, SIIP, Sitare, PACE. BIG is our flagship scheme, Biotechnology Ignition Grant. This is instrumental in supporting the pipeline of biotech startups. We also have advanced stage funding such as BIPP, SIBRI. We also have equity funding programs such as Seed Fund, Leap Fund, ACE Fund, and BioAngels program. We have a mission program such as Grand Challenge India, National Biopharma Mission, Make in India program, Startup India, and others. All of these activities and programs are supplemented through our national and international partners, public-private agencies, industries, investors, philanthropic organizations, and others. Next slide, please. So this is the highlight of 11 years of journey so far of BIREC. We have supported 75 incubation center across the country. More than 800 products are in market. 350 academia supported. We have supported more than 4,000 startups, individuals, and innovators. We have assisted in filing IPs of more than 1,300 plus. We have 100 plus national and international partners and others. Next slide, please. This slide gives you a glimpse of products and technologies supported by BIREC so far. Next slide. So about Global Bio India event. This is the mega event and it is a third edition of the event. It is from 4th to 6th December at Pragriti Maidan, New Delhi. Biotechnology innovation ecosystem and biomanufacturing is the key discussion focus for the 2023. Next slide. I'm going to play a small video in this slide to give you an overview. Aditi, can you increase the volume?
Sure.
Kindly keep yourself unmute so that the volume should come.
Sure, sure. Just a second.
Can somebody confirm is whether the volume they are audible for this video?
I can't hear anything, Poonam, though.
Aditi, can you check this?
Just give me a minute. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
Sure. Mm. Give me a minute, Poonam. I'm
Yeah, please.
trying to fix it. Somehow I'm not able to share my sound of the system. Poonam, can you try from your end? Somehow I'm not able to, enable sound option from my side.
Yeah, no problem. Just confirm if it is audible.
Sure. It's audible.
Yeah, thanks.
And its public sector undertaking, Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council. Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, and its public sector undertaking, Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council.
Poonam, you might want to switch to slideshow.
From 4th to 6th
Yes, it's on from my end, it's on screen mode only.
A
Full
mega
screen mode.
international congregation of biotechnology stakeholders, including central and state ministries, international bodies, regulatory bodies, SMEs, large industries, bioclusters, research institutes, investors,
Is video going
and the
perfect?
startup ecosystem.
No, I see a black box.
The business
Okay.
Why don't you continue with your session, Poonam? And
Uh,
maybe we can play it towards the end of the session if that's okay.
yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
I just, yeah. So, we, yeah, we also encourage partners from to sponsor the events such as to for the platinum program, diamond, gold, silver, bronze, and other categories. So far, we have received 7 to 8 sponsors for the event. Also, the we also invite to the investors to join us for the session to explore the biotech opportunities and the event. During the event, we will be having many sessions such as biomanufacturing, genotechnology, AI technology, big data analytics, and others. During the 3.5 day of the event, we would be having many sessions, 2 to 3 super sessions, and many other sessions. I just wanted to ask you all and invite you, welcome you for the event. Come join us for the 2.5 day event and explore the biotechnology opportunity and exhibit there. You can go to our Global Bio India website, that is www.globalbioindia.org. You can register by clicking the QR code here. Yeah, I just stop here and thank you. Over to you, Aditi.
Thank you, Poonam, for giving us a, quick glance into what Global Bio India is going to be all about. Poonam, there's just one single question for you. This is from Sheriff Babu. He's saying that he's applied for Biotech funding. How long does it take to decide on my application?
So Biotech has various schemes and programs. Can you specify which scheme you have applied for?
Okay, Sharif, I have given you the right to unmute yourself. If you want to quickly, answer Poonam which scheme you applied for so that she can, accordingly let you know.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I have applied under the scheme Biotechnology Ignition Grant.
So BIG scheme has a standard timeline cycle of 6 months. That is
Okay.
once fall announced. After that, in 2 to 3 months, you will get a results and you will be having, if onboarded, you will be having agreement signed.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I just wanted to know the timeline, that's all.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. I got the permanent number, the mail from Bayrak that the temporary proposal has been accepted.
Okay.
So it was July I applied. So I just wondered, that's all. Thank you. Thank you for
All the best.
your
Yeah,
reply.
all the best.
Thank you.
Poonam, there's one more question. Is there any specific discounts for setting up the stall at Global Bio India?
Actually, the setting up a stall for all we have done this time as a first come first serve basis. Any biotechnology startups can come and exhibit at the venue. And to answer the question, so far we are not allowing any discounts to any of the startups.
I hope that answers your question, participant. Okay. There's one, so this would be the one last question for you, Poonam. What are the range of fundings available for the startup?
Birex supports from starting from 5 lakhs and goes up to 10 CR in their multitude life cycle stages in different schemes, different TRL levels, and different thematic areas. The startup just has to look at the Birex website and just identify which all schemes they are eligible for, and they can apply to our Birex website.
Great. Thanks, Poonam. Thank you for a sweet small presentation on Global Bio India. Poonam, I would request you to kindly stop sharing your screen. Yes. And with that, we move on to our next speaker. Hi, Sudipta. I welcome you to today's session. Hello. Hi. So Sudipto is one of the managing partners for Indian Angel Fund, and he himself has been a serial investor. He has invested into some prolific deep tech biotech startups, and he is here to share, some of the best practices, around, structuring your pitch, your valuation, how to, have a conversation, negotiation with the investor so that, you can meet the investor midway and eventually you have a win-win in securing investment from a angel investor or a VC fund. Over to you, Sudipto. Everyone is waiting to, hear you.
Thanks, Aditi, for that introduction, and thanks, Poonam, for introducing BIRAC and the meet which you're looking at. So let me start sharing my screen first, and then we can go from there. Just hold on. You can see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, good morning, everybody, and sorry for getting you out on a Saturday morning. My name is Sudipta Gautam, and thanks for taking the time to join this webinar. So before I started as an investor, my life has been led more as an entrepreneur over the last several decades. I've been fortunate that I have lived through 3 successful exits, and and I have tailored this presentation more for people who are starting up, who are you will get glimpses as an investor, but this is really tailored. The presentation is tailored for founders. So the first thing I can say, having lived through that experience of being a founder or being a core team member, I can very well empathize with the aspirations, the highs and the lows of being a founder or being part of the core team. So the way the Aditi has set this up, over the next 20-25 minutes, I'll share some insights which I've gained in my journey. To be pretty honest, that I don't come from the biotech field myself. My journey as an investor has more been in information technology and in energy, in oil and gas. It's only after starting in IAN, I got involved with biotechnology. And I must say, I've been very fortunate to have come across founders, some of whom we have funded and some of whom we either could not or we did not. But I've really spent countless hours with them. And they were very generous with their time so that I could learn about the various aspects of this field, right? Anyway, without much ado, let me get started. I don't have many slides. I have probably, apart from this slide you see on this and the last thank you slide, I have 8 slides. And once again, the way this has been designed is you ask questions at the end of the session. But if you think something's relevant in a particular slide, you want an answer right then, please shoot that and Aditi will let me know and I'll try to answer it as best as I can, okay? So I just wanted to put some numbers into perspective first, right? So the global market for biotech was about $1.22 billion in 2022, going to about $3.2 billion in 2030. That's a 12.8% CAGR. Now, 12.8% is a pretty good CAGR if you look at other verticals. But what's interesting is India, which is going to go from 92.3 to 300 billion. Now, 12.8 to 16% might look at a small difference. It's a 3.2% difference. But if you look at the scheme of things today, India is growing at about 6 or 7%. And if you look at many of the developed countries, and EU I'm not looking at, even if you look at the US, it's growing at about 3%. So there is a 3.54%. But that difference will catapult India from being the 5th or 6th largest economy to being the 3rd and hopefully the 2nd largest economy. So that's all I'm trying to say, that's a significant difference. So biotech is on the move globally and especially in India. Now let's get into some numbers in India so that you get some perspective. Today, the biotech revenue in India is really, if you break it down, it breaks down into these 4 categories. As you all know, India is the world's pharmacy, right? It's a global market leader and it will continue to be so. And this is really in the generic field. What I think we will see in the future is India will not only be in the generic field, we will get into patents also. We already have seen some aspects of it, and I'll talk about 2 of our funded companies which will get into patents also. But India is the world's pharmacy in generic. Today, if I buy a generic medicine in the United States or United Kingdom of many of the developed countries, it's likely 70% to 80% is it will be made in India. It will be either be made by Lupin or Sun Pharma. You get, I buy medicines in the US from Costco, and typically it's made by Lupin or Sun Pharma. So, and that trend is going to continue. But it's really in the other three which we'll see some very interesting stuff. And when I mean by interesting stuff, and I'll be a bit random as I take it down. If you look at bio IT and bio services, India is a master in providing services, as we have proven in the information technology field. Bio IT and bio services, I think, may see the same explosion, but there is a caveat because there's a lot of it's likely to be regulated. There may be data privacy issues, so it's how well we are geared to deal with those issues will make our success. Bioagriculture, to be honest, I think it's more domestic. We may see some growth outside, but it will be more domestic. But it's really the third category, bioindustry, which is, I presume, which is more of the biotech innovation stuff, which will see a lot of growth and which will show a lot of interest. The good news is that India's domestic market is also growing pretty well. So irrespective of what we do outside, there will be growth in all these, I would say in the second, third, and fourth in the domestic sector also. Going forward, let's, and now I'll get into the investment fundamentals, and just so that all of you, and probably you know all this, but I'll just as, to set the stage with the various stages of funding when you go to raise money. And, I followed this myself, and this is not specific to the biotech sector, this is for all industries. First round, founders and FNF. FNF is friends and family. Yeah. Everybody, before they put money into your venture, they want to see your skin in the game, right? So you need to put significant skin in the game. And let me, just tell you why it's not that they do it out of no reason. The whole entrepreneurship, whether it's biotech, and more so in biotech than in others, the mortality rate of any startup in the startup ecosystem is very high, right? So the investor, when they put money in, there is a significant chance that they'll lose that money, right? So they want to make sure that the pain they feel, the founders also feel those pains, and it's the founders and the core team. So my first, if I may, the first advice is, many of you come from first-rate engineering college or academic institutions. If you don't want to take the risk, if you are going to compare yourself with people who get great jobs, who get great pay, entrepreneurship is not the way for you. You have to have skin in the game. You have to, live the hard life for many years. Having invested in biotech deals, I've seen what founders have gone through. But there is that taste of success, but many a times there's a taste of failure, and they fall down, but they get up again. That's the spirit of the entrepreneur. So that's the first stage, is founders and friends and family. You've just heard about BIRAC. I must say, of all the other industries we have looked at, or the verticals, and I'm talking about QSR, fintech, this is one industry where there is a lot of government money, because the government wants to promote this industry. So there's BIRAC, there's incubators like CCAM, Venture Center. So if you have a good idea, and some of you just asked that question of Poonam, going to get money from BIRAC or getting resources, Venture Center and CCamp and other such, they will take some equity while they give you space, and you'll get facilities like a clean room, which on your by yourself or for a startup is very difficult, right? So there is a lot of money in that, which you can get from the government. The third I'm mentioning here, but it's really unless you have a rich relative who's willing to give you money, it's really not something. But this is really another source of funds, so I just put it there. But it really doesn't, for most of you, it's not going to matter much. Then I come to the fourth, fifth, and sixth, which is angel investors, followed by VC, followed by private equity, right? And I guess, again, I'm probably preaching to the choir that as you go down the list, your risks go, your risks are mitigated, the check sizes increase, the expectation from investors of their returns also decrease because your risks are mitigated. So, excuse me. So if you're lucky enough to get to private equity, you are doing well, and private equity will come in when they see there is a fairly good visibility of revenue and profits. An angel investor invests much earlier, the VC comes in later, and especially in biotech. In other industries, we follow different standards, but in biotech, we usually see, unless it's biopharma, we see companies take a long time to get to revenue. So as a VC, we are willing to take that risk. But when you get to private equity, they will see over the, so typically if you're doing something very innovative with a drug, let's say, right, private equity will come in only private equity will come in when you are in your phase 2, ready to go to phase 3, so they can see a clear path that you will get monetized pretty quickly. So that's when private equity will come in. Their expectations are also lower than what a venture capitalist or investors or an angel investor has. And later during the presentation, I'll also give you some sense of how a VC evaluates the deal, what kind of returns the VC is looking for. So you can do the math yourself and see, hey, do I satisfy those conditions? But let's take a step back. Before even you think of raising money, really spend time making a business plan. And these are very cliched. I'm not saying something, which is rocket science. But way down the journey, you may realize that not paying attention and not being methodical about the next few points could be the separation between success and failure. I'm exaggerating to make a point, but please do focus on these points. They're bound to help you. So the first is, typical mission, vision, what's your product market fit? The second is, why is that a compelling reason? What problem are you trying to solve? And is that really solution significantly better than the rest? Can somebody come to the solution by a different way? What's your moat? Once you have launched the product in the market, and these are questions, the reason I'm suggesting you go through this, because your investor is definitely going to ask you those questions, right? So how quickly, if you've launched something, if you launch a product, if somebody else, all it takes is some money to get to that same stage within the next 6 months, why would a VC fund you? Somebody can come with deeper pockets and drive you out of the market. So typically one looks at if you have a product and if you have a solution, somebody else coming into the market makes maybe 2 years, 3 years, hey, that's a great moat to have. Can you protect your moat through patents, through IP, whatever you have? Again, same. What's your unique selling proposition? And be really, really honest about competition. Many a times we fool ourselves that, hey, I'm the only game in town, but believe me, there are 10 other people working on the same widget. I can't overemphasize this. As a investor, this is one of the most important things. The team which will achieve, and the right mix of people. If you are a scientist, you may be extremely important at this stage, but when you go to the execution phase, do you have the right kind of people? And do you have the diversity in your knowledge pool, which will make you successful? Let me also share with you that many a times you start with an idea, but you got an excellent team, the idea doesn't work out. The team pivots, and then they come up with something else, and the investor knows that, so they really, really focus on the team. I'll give you an example of one of the companies we funded. It started with a, they had this mechanism for cleaning solar panels, and they cleaned solar panels with some microfiber. It was a robotic thing, and they didn't need water. Come the pandemic, their business went down the drain. We had put quite a bit of money in that. What happened was everybody got down. They had a very good team, and they looked at their core competencies, and what they came up with, they had a core competency in manufacturing. Guess what? From that, cleaning solar panels, they pivoted to being a medical equipment manufacturers. They made ventilators during the pandemic, and now they are looking at other. So they have completely pivoted. Reason that they could pivot is they had a great team. So I just can't overemphasize. Team is extremely, extremely important. And the last thing is, how. Get into as much detail, challenge yourself, and be negative about yourself. Factor in all the possible negatives. And at that point of time, because you will get, when you go for funding, people, they are smart people. They will ask you all the negatives. So if you have thought through it, one of the things when I have looked at when our team looks at it, if you have the answers to the negative, the feeling we come away with, these guys have thought it through. Everybody talks about exit, right? Don't bend yourself backward on that, right? If you have a good business plan, the investors will figure out the exit. And nobody starts a company. As I said, I've been through 3 exits, but when we started those companies, we never thought of exits. We thought of just building the best company we could, right? Exits is for the investor, for VCs and all, exits are very important, obviously, because they have a life, fund life, and all that. But for you as a founder, just focus on doing whatever you do in the best possible way. Exit will come on its own. Okay. Last but not the least, be realistic. Don't undersell yourself. But in the initial stages, don't look at, hey, I want to be a unicorn. Hey, you will be a unicorn someday, but it's important to get that first check-in. So be realistic on valuation. Now, whatever I've said till now it's really applies to all startups. So how is being a biotech founder different, right? So the first thing is, you guys do something which not everybody follows. And when I say biotech, the same thing probably applies for deep tech also. So, here was me, and I'm giving you my example as an investor. I started looking at this company which was doing tissue engineering, and I'll talk about this later. And their primary mechanism was through the exosome. I didn't even know what an exosome was. So it may not be easy to understand the science behind your product right? Focus on end benefits rather than the attribute. Talk about what it can do. I mean, the way I say it, dumb it down, right? There is another term we say when you're talking, use the KISS principle, which means keep it simple and stupid. Everybody can understand it. And show the investor how this is going to get monetized over a period of time, right? If people don't understand, take feedback, regroup, you have to persevere. You have to show perseverance. And especially in this field, unless you go and, I mean, because we are talking about India, there are not many people, and there are not many funds or many institution investors who specialize in biotech. So you will find a lot of investors, and I'm talking about deep science. I'm not talking really about the biopharma part of it, but unless it's to do with molecules, is you will find it difficult for people to understand the science. So be patient, take your time, and explain to them the end benefits. One of the best ways, establish credentials early on. And we talked about BioRack, other bioincubators. People look at those as filters. Hey, this guy's got a BioRack grant. Hey, Venture Center or CCamp has incubated them, so there must be something in them. Let's try to understand. So, it's like that first you got the door open. Try to get an angel investor, board member, advisor who's an known industry expert. One of the companies I'll talk about later, Pandorum, which is one of our investee companies, they got Kiran Shaw Mazumdar as one of their advisors. As soon as they got that, they got attention, right? Because if she was willing to mentor them or advise them, even people who didn't understand knew, hey, there must be something in them. Yeah. They also got, at IN, we did a lot of due diligence on them. We got help from BioRack. So again, get some marquee investors on board and others will follow. But basically, that's how you get credibility. Again, since you are in biotech, attend industry events, apply for patents, get published. And get published in known journals, in peer-reviewed journals, right? Again, that establishes credibility. This is a long game. Most biotech companies have a long gestation period. So you as a founder, be prepared for the long haul, right? Next, I'll come to, raising money. All of you are interested in, again, as I said, I started with that this is designed for founders. How do you raise money? Yeah, how do you put a round together? So the next 2 slides, I'll talk to you about raising money. How do you put a round together? How do you address valuation issues, right? Once again, think how much money you need. Don't be optimistic or pessimistic. You should see, you obviously have to be frugal. Yeah, everybody likes founders who are frugal. But you also need to figure out what your next value-enhancing milestone will be. And will you have enough money to last till then? Assume things will go wrong. Not everything works perfectly. And here is something very important to take away. When you raise money initially, you are raising money at a lower valuation. You are getting to be diluted more. But what happens? You think you are going to get money for the next, till the next round you need, let's say I'm just taking a figure as a placeholder, you need 2 crores, right? But you're going to get 3 crores. It may end up being more dilutive to you, but it gives you a buffer. Remember one thing, when things are bad, it's the worst time to raise money. So even if you know, and that's the judgment call you have. And I'll give you another example from another sector where I mean, I wasn't that smart, but the founder was smart. It was in edutech, in the height of edutech. He raised, when everybody was talking about edutech, we invested in that company, and they were going to raise 12 crores or 10 or 10 crores. They ended up raising 20. So they diluted, and they didn't change the pre-money valuation. They diluted much more. But believe me, today they are alive because the founder took that decision at that point of time to dilute the founding team more. Because when edutech went down the tube, he kicked in his frugality, but he couldn't raise the next round. He thought he could raise the next round in 12 to 15 months. But today, 2 years since we have founded, he still has, I don't know, about 8 or 9 or 10 crores in the bank. So he can, and he's burning only maybe 10 or 15 lakhs. So he can live forever. Yeah. So think about all those things when you're, looking at how much money you need to raise. Same thing, valuation is important, but don't give dilution too much importance. Remember the age-old adage, 100% of zero is still zero. I've said this before, find a lead investor whose participation establishes credibility of your proposition. Now I'll talk about is how do you put this together? No matter what others may have raised it, when you go into the market, you don't have to take money from the first person, but beauty really lies in the eyes of the beholder. It is what the market gives you. It's not what the market gave somebody else 2 months ago or 6 months ago. So don't, so you can go about doing your DCF, you can project your EBITDA 5 years down and say, I should get the value. But at the end of it, after having gone through 5, 6, 7, 8 investors, you yourself will get a sense of, what kind of valuation you're likely to get, right? Don't sell yourself short. Yeah. And if you are really, really convinced that a low threshold exists and you don't want to go beyond that, don't go. But make sure you have the money or you have the resources to last through it. And I'll again give you an example which will talk about a founder who was very, very focused on this is my low threshold value. I won't go below that. And he was successful. So then there are some people who will stick to a value and they'll just die because they just can't raise money at that valuation. So there are decisions you guys will need to take. And if you're stuck in a gridlock, show innovation. And here, is how you put the round together. You don't have to do a prize round. You can do a discount to the next round. We have seen some very smart founders who have said, and again, I'm putting some placeholders, these are not real scenarios. Let's say they wanted 20 crore, we were willing to give 10 crore. They came back and said, hey, you know what? I'll take my money in 2 tranches. Give me the first at 10 crores, but here are the milestones I'll meet, and then give me 25 or 30 crores. For the investor, they also know if that milestone is met, that company is worth much more. So the investor is not risking all his money also. So there are various ways to skin the problem. Be innovative and take advice and be flexible. Investors, once you find many a times I have seen good quality of money more than the quantity makes a huge difference, because that helps you raise your next round also. So now I'll jump to the case studies. We are practically, very, very quickly, I'll take you through the case studies. 3, I've got 6 case studies, 3 which we have funded, 3 which we could not or did not fund. So the first is a biopharma company, TrueMeds. great proposition, generic drugs, and I've tried it myself, that if you are a chronic patient, they will get you the same composition of drugs from different manufacturers, but all FDA approved, all, good companies at probably 40 or 50 or even 60% less price. Extremely successful. Again, this is their innovation was in the logistics, in their negotiation, and to spot that gap in the market. It was not so much in the science. The next two I'm going to talk about are science innovations. The second is a tissue engineering platform called Pandorum. We at IN we did 2 rounds of funding. They are raising another round right now. Excellent company. This is the exosome company I was talking about, that they repaired scarred tissue. So they're building a platform of tissue engineering. The first product will be more about how do you cure scars in your cornea, right? Then they have their other product pipeline, lung tissues, liver tissues, and maybe at some point of time heart tissues also. And the third company I'm going to talk about is the next generation intraocular lenses after cataracts, which you put in. And they have lenses, but the real key innovation is their material, which will allow a lens to be customized after it's been put into your eye, and that through visible light. So there is a company in the US which exists, which does this, but they do the customization through UV light. These guys are going through visible light, which makes it much more attractive, much less dangerous. So I'll just pause there. So these are the 3 companies: biopharma, tissue engineering, medical equipment. The last is classified as a medical equipment. Also interesting is the 3 companies which we didn't fund. Obviously, since we didn't fund them, I'm not at liberty to take their name. I'll just tell you what they did. This is a domestic MRI company. Their main innovation, if you know about MRI, they have a very large footprint, and they get cooled. They produce a lot of heat. They get cooled by helium. So this guy, the founder who worked at GE Research Labs, found or invented a way of cooling it without helium, which makes the footprint much smaller. It makes it portable, can be deployed, and portable not as carried in a suitcase, but which could be ported in a small truck. So this is the company which I talked about, and the reason I mention it, he was convinced of a lower threshold. Now, we as an investor, and not just we, there was another marquee VC. We said, hey, this is the valuation we can give you given the stage, but he was convinced. So we did not fund him, but he got funded maybe 6 or 7 months later. He had the money to last long at close to the value he wanted. Now, here is a very important learning. He did not get funded by venture capital. He got funded by a very, very rich individual who saw the vision. Now, the reason for that is, it's a very important takeaway. All of us, which are institutional funds, we take money from limited partners. We have a fund life of, let's say, 7, 8, 9 years. So in that time frame, if we have invested in year 3, in 5 years we have to exit. Somebody else buys, right? Now, if we don't see an exit within that period of time, it's difficult for us to fund. But if it's a billionaire, in which case this guy got funded, right? He can stay with the company for 10 or 15 years. He doesn't care, right? So look at what your gestation period is, what kind of money you need. Extremely important. The second one, it's a touchless vitals monitoring, very interesting company. The founders actually worked in technology which was in Formula One racing, and they had this. They worked on piezoelectricity, and that's what they how should I say? That's what they deployed. This, we took more time. And again, as founders, the best place to be in is an auction situation. He was talking to 5 VCs. We went to our investment committee. We took more time. He was gone by then. Yeah, and it was good proposition. Excellent founder. So I'm kind of saying, as a founder, you have to have multiple conversations going on, and take the one which is not just the best terms, with whom your meeting of the minds are there, right? And the last one I'm going to talk about is, this we did in fun, and this again is these guys had 3D printing of artificial skin. And the reason artificial skin, and they got a lot of grant money. In fact, they got money from Merck, not the drug company Merck in the US, but there's a Merck in Germany. They got grant money from there, so they could exist. But we didn't see, and one of the things, the reason I mentioned this, you could be a profitable business, right? But you may not be a scalable, a hockey stick business. So there are many founders, and that's not just biotech. There are lots of founders who come to us say, hey, this is a profitable business. We say, yeah, we are not into getting dividends. We are into value enhancement. So what I'm trying to say is, you have to look at what kind of institutions you want to raise money from. Yeah. And the last thing I'll say is, many a times you will say, when you go to that, hey, I showed such a good story. Why aren't these guys funding? So I'll just leave you with some very elementary math. Yeah. When we go raise money for the fund, we go to the various LPs. We promise typically, this asset category is a high risk category. So you typically say, hey, you are going to invest in 20, 30 companies. At the end of the fund life, if you put in one, you'll get 3. That's a risk. You may get 0, you might get 1, you might get 10, whatever. But typically that's what you aim for. Now, if you're aiming for 3, you also know, out of the 30 companies you fund, maybe 10 will go bust. 10 will barely return you money, and out of the other 10, some will give you 2x, some will give you 5, some will give you 50x also. But at the time when me as an investor or as a venture capitalist, we are evaluating a company, we have no way of saying who will give what. Otherwise, if we had that crystal glass, we'll fund only those many companies, right? So when we evaluate companies, for us, for the funnel, if a company we think will not give anywhere between 5 to 10 times our money over the next, let's say, 5 to 7 years, we will not fund it, because that's a law of averages. If every company you apply that filter, that's when you, on an average, you can look at returning your LPs 3 times. Now, again, nothing is guaranteed in life, but that's the math you work through. So I'll pause there. If there are any questions, thank you for being a patient audience. If there are questions, I'll take it now. I'll stop sharing the screen now.
Thank you, Sudipta. Especially the last part, the maths, I think, especially the biotech ventures who are in our audience today would find it very useful. So we have 3 questions, Sudipta. I'll take the first one. It's from Sheriff Babu. He says that he is interested in a startup in which cyber physical systems shall be applied in biotech to enhance process automation, improve cybersecurity, and innovative human-machine interfaces. Can IN help identify investors interested in such ventures?
Well, IN can, IN is not an investment banker. IN is an investor. So whether it's an angel platform or it's a fund, we'll be more than happy to look at your pitch deck. So Aditi is there. You can definitely send your pitch deck and it will go through our process. And if we think it fits our criteria, we'll definitely get back to you.
I hope that answers your question, Sharif. Moving on to the next one. So he's CEO and founder of Life in Limb, which is a prosthetics company, and the company is currently struggling to find investment and launch the product. The estimated market size is more than $6 billion US, with a CAGR of 5% projected for 2030. Can you please help and comment if it's an investable market from IN's perspective?
See, typically IN does invest in companies which has an overseas market. This market, obviously for prosthetics, is a big market in India also, right? Again, I'll go back to what I had said during my presentation. Does it, the 5% CAGR is a low CAGR. So, when the industry is growing at 12.8% and India is growing at 16%, but the size of the market is big, right? I don't know the size of the Indian market for prosthetics, but if your product or if your solution is something which addresses this prosthetics market in a very different way, and it's scalable, we'll definitely look. And I would say the same thing. Send your pitch deck to Aditi. She will have a look and she'll have the team to look at it. Because we do, just to give you some sense of IA and what we do in the angel part of it, I'm telling you. The angel part, we look at about 4,000 or 5,000 proposals every year. We have a vetting team which whittles it down, and then they will listen to elevator pitches. Ultimately, we will do about 200 pitch sessions in a year, and out of those 200 pitch sessions, about 30, 35, 40 will get funded. So we are just creating the market. It's the investors who are, and this is the angel platform. If it's a fund, then you go through a different process. So, but please send in your pitch deck to Aditi, and we'll definitely have the fund or have the team look at it.
Thank you, Sudipta. I hope that answers your question, Nishan. Moving on to the next question. It's from Namrata. Could you please highlight upon the exit strategies as an incubator? I'm not sure, Sudipta, if you want to answer that, but if you share any insight.
As an incubator, so I'm guessing what you're asking, Namrata, is you have already incubated a bunch of startups and now you want to exit, right? Is that your question?
Namrata, just hold on for a minute. I would give you, speaking right so that your answer. You can unmute yourself, Namrata, and take it one-on-one.
Yes. Yes, sir. Exactly.
So if that's the case, typically what you would do is there are two ways to do it. One is you can unbundle. That means let's say you have 5 incubating companies in your incubator. You can try to find exits for each of them. Or you can go to a biotech focused VC and say, hey, this is my portfolio. Would you be willing to buy all of them? Now, it depends upon the quality of the investee companies you have or the incubating companies you have. But I don't know whether there are VCs or angels who'll buy all 5 or 6. So maybe at some point, and I'm again guessing, as an incubator, you have equity in each of these companies, right?
Right, sir.
So, I mean, the easiest way is to help them, or get an investment banker who'll find the next rounds for each of these companies. The challenge for you will be at this early stage, Namrata, you may not get a cash exit. So if somebody buys, your stake in that company may translate into stake in the acquiring company. So that's something you may have to live with. So today, let's say you have stakes in 5 companies. If those 5 companies get sold to 5 different companies, now you don't have stakes in those 5 companies, but the companies who have acquired them. That's the only answer I can think about.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Namrata. Moving on to the next one. This is from Sandeep Penu. Is there an opportunity to invest as retail investors in biotech companies?
I think, Aditi, you should be able to answer that. You're part of
So, as an investor, of course, you have the opportunity to invest in any sector, including biotech. So, we can, Sandeep, we can connect offline. I can talk to you about how BioAngel network works, and we can, figure out, a mechanism to onboard you as a member if you're interested in investing in biotech companies. So, do write to me at Aditi Aditi@bioangels.vc.in. Final question for the day, Sudipta. This is from Sunil Punjabi. ONI is a prenatal care product empowering OBGYNs to support mother through a healthy baby routine to improve fetal health and labor outcomes. Would IN help with market access, hospitals, and mother-child care facilities? So Sunil, just disclaimer, IN and BioAngels, we do not operate like an incubation center. As Sudipto emphasized earlier, we are an angel network, so we invest. Of course, mentorship is a part which comes with, mentorship is provided by the lead investors who support you, but as an entity per se, we do not mentor the startup. Sudipta, please feel free to add.
I think you're absolutely right. It's a very laudable cause, Sunil, but unfortunately, iron is not the right place for this. And there are social impact funds, but apart from funds also there's social impact organizations who can help you with this. But as a angel investment group platform, or I don't think we do that.
Yeah. All right. I think we don't have any other. Yes, Sandeep, I would send you my email ID. I'll just post it in the chat box. So with this, we come to the end of the session. Thank you, Poonam. Thank you, Sudipto, for sparing time, especially on a Saturday morning. And Sudipto is dialing in from the US. He told me that, he was busy with Thanksgiving and everything. And yeah, I couldn't thank you, both of you enough. I hope the audience Ghanendra has raised his hand. Khalid, if you could make a very quick question because we need to wrap up the session. I've given you the right to unmute yourself. Okay. Khalid, if you want to ask any question, you can do it now, or else we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask that do IN invest in aging research based products, or let's say
Iron will
drug
again.
molecules?
I will invest in anything, drug molecules. It's again, I'm talking about the angel group or the fund, right? So depends as a very rough ballpark. Anything below an investment threshold of 6 crores comes to the angel group. Over 6 crores goes to the fund, right? So although the angel group has invested more earlier, but the sweet spot for the angel group is somewhere between 2 to 3 crores. So a lot of it depends on the kind of money you need, Ghanendra, right? And then once you have established that, then it just goes through the same process. It goes through the wedding team, somebody, if it's a fund, if it goes through the wedding process, one of the partners will pick it up, and he or she will work with the principal to figure out, is that something which meets our criteria, and if we want to invest in it.
Thanks a lot, Sudipta, for answering the question.
Thanks.
Thanks, Danish. All right. I thank everyone in the audience, especially our speakers, Poonam, Sudipta. Thank you so much for today's session. And yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being patient and listening to this. Thanks, Aditi, for organizing, and Poonam for the initial comments on BIRAC. Thank you. Bye.
Great. Bye-bye. Everyone have a good weekend.